think about the dream of Magnolia, I feel like it kind of started here when I was living here by myself. So every time I come back, I feel like
it reminds you.
And then being here on the Today Show, like all the dreams.
What happens when the face of an empire disappears? Not with a headline, not with a scandal, but with silence. For nearly a year, Joanna Gaines, one half of the couple who built a lifestyle brand from scratch, vanished from public view. I can't shake this feeling. There's something missing, a piece of their story that the cameras haven't shown. The opening immediately pulls you in, doesn't it? Imagine a couple who built a lifestyle empire from scratch. And now everything is shifting. And we're about to find out why. In this first chapter, we're tracing the roots of Joanna and Chip Gaines, from small-town beginnings to becoming one of TV's most recognizable duos, and uncovering the early silent cracks in the foundation. Stay with me, because what comes next will change your view of their fairy tale life. Picture it. A mom of 5, glowing in casual elegance, her hands hovering over a raised garden bed. That's Joanna Gaines, the face behind farmhouse chic, whose shiplap craze reshaped an industry. But she's been gone, unseen in the spotlight. Why? And when Chip posted that quiet message, fans were left reeling. They came for home makeovers, but now the real renovation is happening behind closed doors. Flashback to Waco, Texas. Born in 1978, Joanna grew up with easy confidence and big dreams. She studied communications at Baylor, interned at KWTX and KWBU, even spent a stint in CBS News' 48 Hours New York bureau. That journalist curiosity honed her storytelling, but instead of chasing broadcasts, she dove into design. It was 2001. She stepped away, and something new began. At nearly the same moment, Chip Gaines, born in 1974 in Albuquerque, was forging his path. He played baseball, earned a business degree from Baylor, and launched into real estate, buying up dated homes in Central Texas to flip. He entered that world early, before HGTV trend forecasts made it mainstream, and built raw skills: construction, negotiation, grit. In that year, 2001, their paths converged. Joanna worked at her dad's auto shop. One day, Chip noticed her portrait on the wall. The curiosity sparked. He started hanging around. He finally met her, and the chemistry was instant. From casual hellos to deep conversations, their connection sped up fast. By May 31st, 2003, they stood in Waco and said, "I do." Together, they did something unusual, a business marriage. Chip managed the tools, trades, and timelines. Joanna curated the palettes, fabrics, and finishes. It paid off. They rebranded their home-flipping venture as Magnolia Realty and opened a small decor shop named Magnolia Market. Their secret: authentic stories, real transformations, no scripted drama. As they posted before and after photos on a blog, word spread. Local attention turned digital buzz. By 2012, an HGTV editor had spotted them. They filmed a test episode. In May 2013, the pilot aired. By April 2014, Fixer Upper was greenlit. Listen to that momentum build. Because what came next wasn't just a show. It was a lifestyle movement in sync with an audience hungry for honesty. Fixer Upper exploded. Chip's genuine humor, his "Go Jay" rallying cries, and Joanna's refined, grounded design captivated viewers. Unlike glossy reality shows, this was real budget math, real families. The ratings surged. By 2017, Season 4's finale peaked at 5 million viewers, second only to Discovery Channel's top-tier programming. And suddenly, Joanna and Chip were more than TV hosts. They were icons of modern American home culture. But here's a twist. They never left Texas. No Hollywood estates, no glitzy publicists. They stayed rooted in Waco, building a brand out of authenticity. When you think of Magnolia, it's not just paint and pillows. It's a narrative, from DIY Renos to national fascination, all in their hometown. That brand became an ecosystem. Downtown Waco's Magnolia Market blossomed into the Silos, a destination with sprawling green lawns, food trucks, bustling cafes, boutique shops, drawing hundreds of thousands each year and injecting millions into the local economy. Then came Magnolia Journal, a quarterly lifestyle magazine with Joanna's personal essays, design insights, and family moments, circulating across bookstores and newsstands in the hundreds of thousands per issue. In 2017, they inked another deal. Hearth in Hand with Magnolia debuted exclusively at Target. The collection spanned home goods, kitchenware, seasonal decor, over 300 items. Joanna's signature mix of rustic elegance climbed into mainstream homes across the nation. From Instagram to aisle displays, their influence had gone global. But as their public empire expanded, there were changes behind the scenes. In late 2022, Joanna quietly underwent major spinal surgery to correct a long-standing condition. She kept it private. Fast forward to today. The Gaines family home, once a backdrop for joyful reveals, is now a space where Joanna is preparing to let go, as she shared recently about her oldest daughter heading off to college. 5 children, Ella, Drake, Duke, Emmy, and little crew, have grown fast. One by one, they're entering new seasons. Joanna's voice catches in interviews when she says, "How do I prepare my heart?" A simple question that opens a floodgate of emotion. There's magic here, but also transition. What if the empire built on renovation and reveal is shifting inward, focusing less on build-outs, more on family evolution? And what's Chip's role now that he's posted that heart-stopping message, leaving fans speechless? When everything seemed to be aligning, sales soaring, shows expanding, hearts warming, a sudden shift sent ripples through their world. Imagine a partnership so finely tuned that any change feels seismic. That's where we find the Gaines in late 2022, at the pinnacle of their brand empire, yet quietly confronting a deeply personal battle. Recall how their Hearth and Hand line with Target hit the top of the affordable design charts right out of the gate and stayed there through 2025. That success echoed beyond retail. In 2019, they struck a deal to transform a fading DIY network into Magnolia Network, a hub for renovation, food, lifestyle, and fresh original content. By January 5, 2022, the channel was live across streaming platforms and cable. They stepped in as creative directors and executive producers, shepherding everything from Restoration Road to The Lost Kitchen, and spin-offs like Welcome Home, The Castle, and The Hotel. Most recently, Joanna launched a mini renovation series on Max, showcasing nimble makeovers that echo her sharp eye for design. But what happens when the creator behind so much of it starts to fade from the frame? It's startling how fast it happened. By 2024, Magnolia Network had released over 20 original shows, proof of expansion and ambition. Meanwhile, their net worth, estimated at around $50 million in 2024, reflected massive earnings from TV, publishing, real estate, retail, and licensing. On social media, Joanna's Instagram draws nearly 14 million followers, with engagement rates soaring above industry benchmarks. Each post drawing hundreds of thousands of hearts. Fans aren't just buying products, they're investing in a lifestyle philosophy rooted in authenticity and warmth. Then came the quiet disruption, and for once, it came not from outside, but from within. At the end of 2022, Joanna shared an Instagram photo in hospital scrubs, mentioning a little procedure and a long holiday break. The words were simple, but they opened a door to hidden struggle. The surgery wasn't new, it was her second spinal procedure. The pain had a silent origin, reaching back decades to a cheerleading mishap in high school when she was thrown awkwardly during a basket toss, her spine absorbing a blow she'd never fully recovered from. In 2001, shortly after Baylor, she underwent her first microdiscectomy, but life pulled her forward. Fixer-upper, motherhood, empire building. 5 children, grueling filming days, endless travel, all while managing a deteriorating spine. No one on screen glimpsed the severity. On camera, she was composed, supporting Chip, stacking stone, smoothing grout. Off camera, her back was unraveling. In early 2023, Joanna opened up in Magnolia Journal. The pain started as a whisper, then louder, then unrelenting. I tried to ignore it, thought I could endure it like always. That whisper became a shout. Production schedules were altered. Magazine issues no longer included her editor's letter. For the first time since Magnolia Journal launched, her voice, typically front and center, was missing. By early 2024, fans realized something was off. Joanna wasn't making appearances on Fixer Upper, the hotel. At first, insiders pointed to scheduling overlaps, but whispers grew louder. Her back pain resurfaced. No public statements were issued, just an eerie silence and a gap in her usual content flow. Social media comments shifted from design admiration to concern. "We miss you," they wrote. The missing personal touch hung heavy. Meanwhile, the editorial tone at Magnolia Journal changed. Where Joanna once shared reflections on slow mornings, recipe trials, and family talks, issues were now opened by staff with a note about a needed season of rest. No more Joanna essays. This wasn't just a cosmetic pause, it felt like a retreat under pressure. And as Joanna stepped back, all eyes turned to Chip, husband, co-creator, frontman. His reaction was nothing less than raw, and fans felt every unspoken beat. In June 2024, he made a single post, a grainy photo taken from behind, the couple walking side by side near the silos. That shift was palpable. The Magnolia juggernaut slowed. Mini Rennie, the Max renovation show Joanna filmed before her relapse, aired without Chip's supportive flair. It was a small-scale series, intimate and simple, but outlined everything that felt missing: connection. People noticed the absence, and that absence raised questions. What happens to a brand built on their partnership when one steps back into the shadows? They climbed to fame side by side, with complementary strengths: Chip's grounded energy, Joanna's design heart. Now, one is stepping forward, another stepping back. Behind every beautifully styled room, there's a human recalibration. The world still sees Magnolia products, magazine issues, and streaming shows. But behind the scenes, the couple is rebalancing life and identity, mission and meaning. When Joanna returned to that stage in Dallas, the atmosphere was electric, yet tender, as though the room had held its breath for her. Nearly a year had passed since she stepped away, and when she walked to the podium, the applause wasn't just polite. It felt like a lifeline. That standing ovation, lasting what felt like minutes, spoke not to a TV performance, but to a community relieved to see her again. Her presence that night was brief, almost understated. A symbolic donation for children in need. But the impact was seismic. Immediately after, the homepage of Magnolia Journal shifted. For the first time in 18 months, the editor's note wasn't penned by a staff member. It bore Joanna's voice again. Titled, "On Learning to Let Go," it reflected on healing, empowerment, and trusting others. Without her name on it, readers still sensed her return. Her words rang true and unmistakable. Behind the scenes, Magnolia Network was quietly reshaping itself. Mini Rennie, Joanna's smaller-scale renovation show, filmed before her health setback, slipped back into production. Variety confirmed the comeback. She'd resumed work part-time and remotely by early April. No grand launch, no flashy announcement, just a soft re-entry, purposeful and paced to her well-being. Then, in early June, Chip stepped back into the frame. He appeared in a short video filmed at the now iconic Magnolia Silos alongside their children, inviting fans to summer programming at the site. Though Joanna wasn't featured, his calm tone and the children's laughter suggested healing. One quiet family moment that spoke louder than any press release. It was the first time in 10 months we saw him in branded content, and the effect was profound. People realized their world was slowly coming back into balance. The couple also shifted their business strategy. Magnolia's calendar was restructured, dialing down on high-production TV and refocusing on sustainable product lines and support for Waco-based small businesses. This pivot echoed a broader 2025 consumer trend. Shoppers turned to authenticity, local crafts, and eco-aware brands. It also aligned with Joanna's need to work at her own pace while still feeling purposeful. What happens when your brand is more than a brand, and your life becomes the brand? For Joanna and Chip, the answer became clear. They didn't need a comeback tour or tearful videos. Instead, they won by returning to the roots of everything they built: community, craft, family, and resilience. The quiet return to Waco, the subdued re-entry to media, the gentle rebalancing of workloads, these were choices that spoke volumes. But the real power lay in presence, not production. No campaign would match the authenticity of Chip walking with their kids. Now, about the lifestyle that helped build this empire, there's more than meets the eye. Chip and Joanna's real estate spans their renovated farmhouse in Waco, a cherished investment property, and land holdings near Magnolia's original silos. Their luxury assets include a fleet of high-end cars. Chip has been seen driving a sleek late-model Ford F-150 Raptor, while Joanna favors a refined Land Rover Defender. Their watch collection features timeless pieces. Chip occasionally sports a Rolex Submariner. Joanna wears a Cartier Ballon Bleu. There are whispers of a private jet through their business ventures, a charter partnership used for Magnolia travel and event logistics. Financially, beyond the estimated $50 million net worth, they diversified: publishing, retail lines, TV production deals with Discovery, and licensing with Target. They also carry comprehensive insurance, medical coverage, asset protection, and life policies to safeguard their family and brand. The lesson here: their wealth is built on layered income, risk management, and consistent reinvestment. Proof that scaling thoughtfully beats chasing the next viral hit. At their peak, in 2019 through early 2022, the Gaineses weren't just reality stars, they were architects of a lifestyle movement. They launched Magnolia Network, expanded retail at the silos, published a magazine, released best-selling books, and partnered with major retailers like Target. Their net worth reflected this: $50 million by 2024, anchored by diversified revenue streams, media, publishing, retail, real estate, and licensing. On social media, Joanna's nearly 14 million followers didn't just like content, they identified with a philosophy: simplicity, warmth, authenticity. Then came the shift, the silent undercurrent of pain and re-evaluation. Joanna's second spinal surgery in late 2022 wasn't a plot twist. It was a forceful reminder of mortality and limits. The injury traced back decades to a cheerleading accident, proof that wounds don't always fully heal. Despite her busy life, 5 pregnancies, multiple shows, constant design sessions, her spine was breaking down quietly. And when pain became unmanageable, everything paused. What followed wasn't dramatic. Joanna didn't host tearful live streams or write a tell-all book. Instead, she removed herself from view. Magnolia Journal lost its editor's letter. Season details faded. Fixer upper spin-offs aired without her presence. On social media, she posted just once, signifying a slow healing process, not a dramatic comeback. Chip's reaction mirrored that quiet humility. He pulled away publicly, but was present intimately, canceling brand tours, prioritizing physical therapy with Joanna, walking beside her when cameras weren't rolling. His understated Instagram caption, "I never thought there'd come a day when the best thing I could do was nothing at all," became a moment of collective pause for fans. More than 3 million people engaged with that post, not for fame, but for solidarity. Their return was equally understated. Mid-2025, Joanna made a soft re-entry at a charity gala, receiving a heartfelt standing ovation. She returned to writing, On Learning to Let Go, a reflection on acceptance and delegation. Chip appeared on a summer video with their children. Simple, genuine, nothing overproduced. Their business pivot mirrored their personal pivot. Smaller scale, community-focused, sustainable. Comparing today's gains to their early years is revealing. Once, it was 2 hopeful university grads flipping homes in Texas. Now, it's a couple navigating health challenges, scaling back media, leaning into local impact. That transition holds a universal truth. Growth isn't always about expansion. It's often about contraction, focus, and rediscovery. As Part 3 closes, the emotional arc resolves not in spectacle, but in substance. Joanna's recovery, Chip's silent vigil, their collective resistance to pressure. They haven't retreated, they've evolved. What began as a narrative of building physical homes ended as a story of rebuilding their own lives. So, what lingers after the cameras leave? These are questions that remain rich and open. Will Joanna fully return to Magnolia Network? Will Chip step back into public leadership? How will Waco's small business initiative unfold? These aren't cliffhangers. They're real invitations, extending the journey beyond the screen. In the end, what makes this story unforgettable isn't fame or fortune. It's their commitment to values, family, honesty, and resilience. From shiplap to spinal recovery, from reality TV to real-life trials, they taught us something essential. True influence isn't measured in viewers. It's reflected in quiet courage, consistent presence, and the choice to stay real when everything else trembles. Their legacy has never just been about shiplap or home makeovers. It's about building something real, through seasons of celebration and seasons of survival. They chose family over fame,